So what I want to talk about next, mate, is how you started working with Petr Yan. I remember I coached a 9:30 combat conditioning class, and I was out the front of the gym near the office on the stairs there, and he was driving out of the gym, pulls up on his scooter, and he looks at me and he goes, "Coach, I want to work with you." And I was like, "Oh, cool, man." I was like, "You know, what's the deal?" And he goes, I said, "Are you working with another coach at the moment?" And he goes, "Oh, I work with coach, rehabilitation, rehab, finish." He like points at me, nods at me, and he goes, "Specifico conditioning." And I was like, "All right, sweet, man." So I walked in the office, had a chat to Sayat, and was like, "Hey, what's the deal?" Sayat goes, "Hey, this dude's just signed a contract with the UFC, fights in a couple months' time, wants to work, blah, 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 blah." And I was like, "All right, sweet, let's rock and roll." You worked with him for his debut as well.
Yeah, you were working on him before me. It was just you actually introduced me, well, told me about him when you were working with Peter, and
you would have seen him around for
yeah,
sure. He was one of those dudes, man. Like you see him in the gym training, and you're just like, this dude's something else, eh?
Yeah, it was quality, and I remember I was up training. I think it might have been, I'm not sure if it was Johnny Betts or another guy in the cage, and he came up to me and he goes, "Hey, coach, can we do some pause?" And I was
Some
like,
pause.
Some pause, they call it pause, like in Russia. And I was like, "Huh?" Whatever I spoke back, he couldn't understand me. And we organised a session from there. I think it was his debut. We only had one session or two, and then I remember you flying off to Singapore and all. And then after that, it came back, and it just kind of like progressed from there. Similar situation to you through those.
Yeah, Bubble Cup.
Thank you.
And then what happened? Because you were kind of like guest coaching for Tiger at the time. You hadn't quite started working full time as a coach, like because you were still kind of fighting. You were in this transition period, weren't you?
Yeah, so I was still an active fighter then, and I was still trying to. I was always involved in coaching, but I was still trying to figure out what I was still doing. Was I going to fight more, or was I going to coach more? I was kind of based in Australia too, so I was kind of trying to find that move. And I remember I came back and I had a text message like, "Hey coach, will you be in Tiger? I've got a camp date such and such." And I remember thinking, I want to stay here and to coach, and maybe I'll put the fight on the back foot for a while. So that's how it ended up getting more serious and serious then.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. And you've been with him for most of his fight camps, right? Every fight camp in Thailand.
So I think the first one I went away with him, his English now was a lot better. Was with Uriah Faber over to Vegas, and then since that fight, I've been away with Jose Aldo, and the last one, Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah, which didn't go to plan.
But it's all like a learning curve, you know. Even though it didn't go to plan, I think he's going to be a smarter guy from that now.
Yeah. I heard you saying on another podcast that you kind of neglected the boxing a little bit leading into the Aljamain Sterling fight, because everyone was saying he's a ground guy, he's going to grapple. So you guys are an American top team over in the States, focusing primarily on the grappling, right?
Yeah. So for Peter, like, it was hard, because he's based in Tiger Muay Thai all the time. He's used to everything. All his coaches there, you, me, everybody's got a circle. So when I went over there, he's got a new circle. It was a great circle. I learned a lot, but we had to we focused a lot on the ground game, which we needed for Aljamain. I felt slightly that we pushed the boxing back a little bit, but as I say, when you add them up from your last camps, we skipped bits there, but it's a learning curve. Not to say he didn't do well in the fight. He done great. He looked great.
Oh, dude, he didn't even have to use his grappling.
So this is the best thing about Petr Yan. He can go levels above that.
Yeah. What's the best camp you've seen him look?
Or for most people who know Petr Yan, always 2 weeks before a fight he gets injured or stung by a jellyfish or something. So I still don't believe you've seen the best look of Petr Yan yet. Uriah Faber looked great. Jose Aldo looked great. I believe Aljamain, he looked good, but I know he can be a lot sharper and a lot more explosive.
Yeah.
I think every fight he gets better.
Yeah. Yeah. What was there anything missing in that last camp?
Yeah, so I believe, and I said to Peter after the fight, you must Sean, like you must his conditioning. Over there was a different setup, different layout. Every gym has got their own ways. I said Peter was used to his ways. For his conditioning, it didn't go to his plan what he liked, and we kind of just went off our own ways of working. So we had no conditioning. And I believe it showed a big part in the fight. You know, me and you worked together a lot, Sean, before.
Yeah.
I believe like when I'm teaching for striking or boxing, he's got that like explosive snap he can go. I felt in the fight that he missed that little spark just like for the finishing.
Yeah, I remember, again, I was listening to another podcast, and someone asked you a question, was like, what were you saying to him whilst the fight was going on? And you're like, let the hands go, let the hands go. And he was like, I heard you, coach, but I couldn't. I just didn't have the power, the energy, or whatever it was.
Yeah, so like Petr Yan is like a fit guy. He's
super fit, man.
Fit, you know,
massive aerobic engine. Like, he can go all day, bro.
All day, you know, you won't outfight Petr Yan. He's the fittest fighter you'll ever meet. But like that spark just wasn't there in that fight.
Yeah, interesting. It's interesting to hear you say that, because you know the last couple of fights that I've worked with him, I think I've worked with him for 5 of his 8 fights in the UFC. But I think the last couple of fights in particular, the conditioning has been more anaerobic energy system. So it's like that short, sharp, high intensity, max effort work.
Yeah.
You know, longer rest periods where like really building that explosiveness, using that rocket fuel. And then as we get closer to the fight, we start working on that endurance, man. And I think that's missing from a lot of fighters. And I've heard so many people say this, and you've probably heard it as well. People say that Petr Yan gets better as the fight goes on.
Yeah.
You know, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think he stays the same, but he's able to repeat those high intensity efforts, whereas other people start falling off, man. So most of the work that I've done with him over the last couple of fights for that explosive power, that snap, has all been like sprints, jumps, throws. You know, so yeah, it's hard to I mean, as you said, he's in a different environment, man.
Yeah.
You're trying to manage so many different things. Normally when he's here, he's got his family, he's got his wife making dinner, having dinner with the missus, he's got his kids there that he's playing with, he's going to the beach, he's resting, recovering. And
yeah, there's a lot to take into that last fight, you know, like as for many people, like everybody didn't know what was going on. So for Petr Yan, I said he needs a tap in the back, like for going out of his own circle, going to different ways. One thing I always remembered as a fighter myself, I've done a lot of camps around the world, Sean, in America, everywhere, and whatever was about Thailand, there might have been as much boxing there at the time. It was a Muay Thai, just coming into MMA. Even though I wasn't getting good boxing training at the time, I felt 110% leaving Thailand.
Yeah.
The heat, the running, the whatever it is, that mental edge we talked about, whatever it was about Thailand, it was just like, I always felt great.
Yeah.
I believe that mental spark could have been just gone as well. Like, you know, you know yourself, Sean, you used to say, "Hey Peter, no rest weekend for rest." Next thing he's up running Big Buddha and you know, whatever it is about it, not to say it's going to make the men fitter, it gives them that motivation, that spark they need. Yeah.
Funny you say that, man. I remember one time in particular, I think it was with the Aldo fight, that fight camp leading into that, and you know, he was obviously training through the quarantine period, working his ass off. Gym opened again. All right, sweet. Now he's got the team around him again. He can do his MMA, he can do his striking, he can you know, work with all the different coaches. And I remember he was like, I take his heart rate variability, blood pressure, I'm checking his metrics, his readiness score, and then I'm adjusting the training session. And I remember like he'd been training hard for maybe 4 or 5 weeks, man, and I could see his blood pressure was increasing, his heart rate variability was decreasing, which means that he can't deal with stress as well. And I was like, I saw it decreasing over the course of like 2 weeks, and I was like, all right, next week, deload, back it off a little bit. Obviously, he's Russian, you know, didn't understand much English then, and I was like, next week, back it off a little bit, still train, but not so hard. And you know, it is like, as you said, he's up running Big Buddha, he's doing this, he's doing that, and like, lo and behold, he went and got sick and was like in bed for a couple of days and couldn't train, man.
I remember that.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, because you know, you said that 2 to 3 weeks out from the fight, that's when he normally gets sick. Normally something happens. That's because he's pushing so hard, and his immune system's compromised, and then boom, something happens, and his body's not able to deal with it as well.
Yeah, I think you're gonna actually enjoy working with him more now. He's starting to learn and take that rest. You know,
I remember you saying that in Miami, man.
Yeah, because normally, you know, Peter, you'd have to tie him to the bed, or you know, he ain't sitting around, and now he's starting to take his days off. He's fresher for it. You know, there was no injuries, there was no nothing in that time. So if he keeps taking that on now, he is at the top of his game, but I believe he'll be a great. He can keep going on and on. Yeah,
I'm excited for the rematch, mate.
Yeah.
You got any news on that? When's that happening? Is that happening?
Sayed Jaman.
Or is Aljamain still ducking?
Still ducking.
Mate, you'd have to think, man, like if you're Aljamain Sterling and you're going in to fight Petr Yan for the bantamweight title, and you're like, I'm going to dominate this dude, I'm going to take him to the ground, I'm going to fucking beat him up, I'm going to submit him. And then Petr Yan just like stuffs everything, puts you on your back 7 times, and just fucking makes you look like a child. Like, you're not going to want to fight that dude again.
Can you imagine, like, a rematch is always different. Like, somebody comes back different. It always seems to be, one's got smarter, or it's always a different fight, but Aljamain Sterling is beaten mentally by Petr Yan before he even fights again.
100%.
You know, he knows he can't stand with Peter, he can't go to the ground with Peter. That, I said to Peter before that fight, this fight makes you, like, people that said, he's a stand-up fighter. Peter is an all-round fighter. You said that yourself in the conditioning, like, he's just a natural.
He's a fucking athlete, man.
Yeah, whatever he does, he'll do it good.
Yeah.
So as I say, you can understand when we went to the American top team, he was learning a lot of BJJ and all, so that was his focus. You know, you can understand that. We're still doing our fight camp and working, and whatever he learned, he wants to learn great.
Yeah, nice. Speaking of striking, Magomed Kurbanov just recently won a title, didn't he?
Magomed, last night he just won Liam Smith in England, a massive fight. So that's put him straight up there now, like world title shot easy after that fight.
And you think he's going to fight Timmy Zhu?
Yeah, so they called out each other a long time ago.
Yeah, I remember that.
Now Tim Zhu's just beat Dennis Hogan, who's ranked number 2 in the world. Now he's got his shot now. After that performance last night, it makes sense. That's a big fight in Russia or Australia. Because Russia, Tim's dad was based there. That can be easy made in Russia.
Yeah, man.
And it's a great fight. They're 2 great guys.
Yeah, and we've worked with both of them before. I'm going to sit on the fence for this one.
I'm going to sit on the fence too. But I love the 2 boys. They're nice guys. They train hard, so best wishes to both of them.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope it happens, that fight, do you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. It'd be awesome. Awesome to see. I wouldn't know who to pay for, but
it'll be awkward for us.
Cheers, boys.
We won't know who to pick for, but I'd love to see it.
Yeah, for sure. Who's a fighter you've worked with in recent years, like a hot prospect that you're really looking forward to growing, developing, and watching them perform over the next couple of years? Someone who's on the rise.
You know, you get some of these fighters that you train and you go home at night and you can't sleep. You think, wow, I want to train these guys.
Yeah.
Jason Quigley in Ireland, right? He's a golden boy fighter. He's been out for a while. Now he's back fighting. He's fighting Mosley Jr. On the 29th of May. So he said he was going to come out this year. His trainer's Andy Lee in Ireland, but he'll probably just, after his fight, come for a bit of downtime, just for a few weeks. That's always going to be his trainer, but you know, you just want a few weeks for a guy. Just to build a bit of power and stuff.
Sharpen him up a little bit.
when I trained him once, his jab, it would just cut anybody up. It's like razor sharp.
Really?
And someday I believe, I just want to train him like.
Last one, mate. We're recording this on Saturday. What's the date? Saturday, the 8th of May.
Yeah.
Canelo fights Billy Joe Saunders tomorrow.
Yeah, massive fight.
This will be dropping on Monday.
Yeah.
Who you backing?
As much as I want Billy Joe to win, I'm the biggest Canelo fan. It's the only fighter I study. Canelo, Golovkin, the two main guys, but I believe he's got everything against him: size, power, pound for pound fighter at the moment.
Dude, and he's just getting better, man.
And you know, Billy Joe's a smart guy. The gypsy travelers, like they're born fighting. Like they're fighting since they can walk. He's a big task here in him, but Billy Joe is a smart boxer. He's like a Mayweather type can box move. Let's see can he still get away with moving in that bigger ring? I don't know. I can't see it.
Bigger ring, is it?
It's a big ring because there was a big argument. Like they had an 18-foot ring. Now they got to change to 22 or 20.
Right.
More room to move, you know. But if Canelo starts cutting him down, makes him body shots. If I had to pick, I would say it's going to be a late stoppage by Canelo.
Yeah.
I hope not. I hope Billy Joe can pull it off in a big one, but I just can't see it.
Yeah, because you did a training camp with him, didn't you?
Yeah.
You trained with him in Marbella, was it?
Yeah, Marbella. When he landed over there, he was over 15 stone. And I remember running up this, it's Istan Mountain it's called. Every Saturday we done a mountain run in the morning. And you could hear him going, raving, and like he was way behind, like miles behind, but he didn't stop. He got to the top. Like that's their mindset. It's like Tyson Fury's done the same.
Yeah.
You know, and he's been there alongside him in this camp, like pushing him, motivating him. So your mind's a powerful thing, but when you're against Canelo, doesn't care how powerful it is.
Oh, 100%, man. And I think you touched on something earlier, like that psychological component. Like when you're like Petr Yan's beating Aljamain Sterling, like psychologically before they even step into it. Like I wonder if there's any element of that in the Canelo BJS fight. Or you reckon they'd both be backing themselves?
Well, I see, you know, like Billy Joe's getting under his skin. He's like, you know, aggravating him, telling the Mexican promoters his bad breath. Like he's a wind-up artist, you know. So
he's trying to get under his skin, trying to throw him off.
That's good, because if you start loading up on Billy Joe, you're gonna miss, and he's gonna start picking you up. You know, if that works, I do believe Canelo's too smart to fall for them games. Yeah. He'll keep his cool, which he's done.
Won't let his emotions take control.
Yeah. He starts loading up. It's all in Billy Joe's favour.
Yeah. Well, you look at like Conor McGregor versus Khabib, bro.
Yeah,
Conor was like getting under your skin, blah blah blah. Khabib just kept his cool and then just fucked him up.
Perfect example. And then I know a perfect example where it didn't work. He got under his skin for Jose Aldo.
Yeah.
And Jose came running, loading up, and ping.
Yeah. Boop.
So it's your mind's the most powerful thing in this fight.
Yeah. That's a great point, man, because Conor's so good at doing that. He's so good at that trash talking, and you know, it just he uses the same technique, but people take it in a different way. And if you get emotional, like Jose did, like as you said, he's starting to load up, man. He's not quite as sharp, and boom, just gets that clean shot off. But then Khabib just like. Water under the bridge, bro, and then he was just like fucking like cranking on his head, just going, "Who's the bitch now?"
That was good. His next fight now, McGregor, he's already at the main games already. He's like, "Oh, you so and so." Like he goes, "I've got you now. I've got," you know. He goes, "I've got your number. I know what to work on." He's already at it. Yeah. The last time he said it was too nice, he goes, "The bad guy's back."
Yeah. Who are you backing in that one?
I have to gotta back McGregor.
Got to back the man.
You gotta back him.
Yeah. I'm gonna back Poirier, I think.
Yeah,
I like him. And as you said before, I think they'll both be able to adapt, and it'll be a different fight.
Yeah. So, I do believe like they're both taking. Dustin's looking great fighter. I believe he can make a statement here as well. But I just think Conor McGregor last time coming back from millions, landing yachts and the money, the fame.
Yeah.
Hadn't been fighting a long time. Your ring sharpness in there.
Yeah.
I believe that
Mine was in other places.
Other places. Now
Building,
it's like
building
a
the
learning
business
curve.
with Proper 12 as well.
Yeah, you know, I believe you might see a better McGregor this time.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah.
Awesome, bro.
All right, John.